from?
I'm born in Canada. My family's from Sudan.
Okay, and what's your religion?
I'm Muslim.
Okay, so what would you like to say about Israel Palestine? You got the stage now. TikTok friendly words. Go ahead. Educate me since you guys say you're going to educate me. Go ahead. Educate me. Go
Palestine
ahead.
has always been there. It's been there
Huh?
since Palestine has always been there.
Okay, okay. I already listened. We already went over this when you guys were in the comment section, and my pet peeve is being repetitive. So I'm gonna say it like in 30 seconds or less. There's never been a Palestinian state or country run by the
Okay.
Palestinians or anybody else. Not
Can you
before the state of
can you
Israel, not during the state of Israel, and not now. Listen,
can,
I'm not gonna keep on debating this with you guys because the problem with you guys is you spend the entire live debating this and you don't address any of the real issues. There's some real issues the Palestinians are facing. There's some legitimate complaints and some real struggles they're having. And you guys spend the entire live debating this instead of like addressing real issues. And really, we could talk about real issues they're facing, but instead you spend the whole time debating whether it's Israel or Palestine. And really, that makes you a really bad advocate for the
okay, since
Palestinians.
you don't
Listen, because if you were a good advocate for the Palestinians, you'd understand that part of their struggle is the fact that they've never had self determination. That's part of the Palestinian struggle, right? So if you really knew what you were talking about, you would realize that.
all right, so since you don't want to talk about if it's Palestine or Israel, let's focus on what's happening now. So this past year and a half, I don't know if it's just me or any human being. Israel has violated every single UN human right. They've been taken up to court multiple times by the
Oh, okay.
ICJ.
Listen. As for the UN literally has T people working for them. The UN literally fired the people on their ICJ that said that Israel wasn't doing
They're,
genocide, right?
that's
Well, let
not
me
true.
say something. Let me just finish. They had people on their panel that said that Israel wasn't doing genocide. They fired them, okay? The UN does a million resolutions against Israel, but doesn't do resolutions against,
Okay, okay,
Hold on, let me finish. I'm not done. I'm almost done. Against hardly any against North Korea, Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan. So that makes you kind of wonder why they're so hyper focused on Israel, but they're not focused on other things, right? And another thing is their people that work for them are meeting with H group in Gaza, H group in Lebanon. They're meeting with T people. So does that sound like the UN is a very reputable um, organization when that's how they're carrying on things?
a reputable organization that a lot of the countries in our world rely on.
Well,
So,
it's not that they rely on the UN; it's that they have no choice but to be part of it because it is the UN, right? But the problem is the UN is a problematic. Even the countries in the UN have called out the UN for being biased against Israel. If you read the news, you know that a bunch of countries in the UN have called out the UN for the way they treat Israel.
okay, so you don't consider the UN to be a reputable
I think the
organization.
UN is very biased, and I think they have a lot of problematic stuff going on, especially a bunch
What
of people
about
who work for them.
Okay, what about like media outlets? Which ones do you consider to be reliable?
I mean, which ones do you listen to?
The CNN, the BBC, the New York Times,
Okay, here's the thing, right? With the CNN, the BBC, the New York Times, the AP, places like that, I think you have to pick and choose which articles because some articles are well written, some articles they don't have the full context, some articles have terribly written headlines. Again, I
they
think
have terrible
some.
headlines.
Can I please finish? You asked me a question. I'm answering. I think you have to really pick and choose the articles with them. I
So
think better when it comes to Israel Palestine is to read news from the region, right? If I had to pick one news outlet, only one, if you only had to read one, which I'm not suggesting only read one, you should read a variety of them. I would
so
say
it's
just read. If you interrupt me one more time, I'm going to disconnect you because I'm trying to answer the question. You asked me a question. I would say read Times of Israel, but I have a blog on my link tree that says five good English resources, news sources on Israel Palestine, and I list five of them that are really good. But I read everything. I read all the ones you listed, plus a bunch of ones from the region, plus a bunch of other ones. Like that's the thing. Like I think you should read everything, but the thing is, except like Correct and Al Jazeera. But the thing is, um, but you have to like read an article and see if it's good and see how well written it is. But Times of Israel is very very accurate and gives a lot of context, and that's the good thing about them.
Okay,
And
so
pro-Pallies use Times of Israel a lot of times to make an argument against Israel because Times of Israel shows up the good and the bad and the ugly about Israel.
all right, so when the representative, I don't know if what's the representative name, but there was a representative who was in front of Bibi Netanyahu, and he was telling him, he was speaking to him in Jewish, and he was telling him,
What's speaking in Jewish? What does that mean?
huh?
What
No,
is speaking in Jewish?
speaking in their language,
Mean in Hebrew?
in Hebrew, my bad, in Hebrew.
Okay.
So they were speaking in Hebrew. So the representative spoke to Netanyahu in front of him and told him, "What is your plan?" He was screaming at him, telling him, "What is your
Hold on,
plan?
who
What
is
is your
this
mission?"
person? Who is this? Are you talking about someone in the Knesset?
Huh?
Who are you talking about? Oh, someone in
I'm
the
talking about the
Knesset?
Knesset. Yeah.
Okay.
He was telling him, "What is your plan? What is your
Can
mission?"
you pull up a reliable news article about this? Because they
There's a
like
video of it. There's a video. If you look it up on TikTok, there's a video of
okay, I
the.
don't care about TikTok videos because TikTok videos
No,
sometimes
no, it's a
have bad.
video.
Can I please excuse me? Can I please finish? Let me ask the question before you
Oh my
answer.
God, this is a.
Sometimes a lot of people badly translate Hebrew, so I don't care about. You need to start reading articles instead of watching TikTok videos. So
No,
that's
I
the
don't
thing.
just
Like,
watch
listen,
TikTok videos.
dude. I don't care what a TikTok video says. I want a reliable news article that says this situation
It's
happened.
not about TikTok. I'm just giving you a. I don't get my
If it
stuff off
actually
TikTok.
really happened and it was a big deal, the Times of Israel would have written about it. The Jerusalem Post would have written about
Oh,
it. Somebody would have written about it. So why don't you just tell me like a reliable so
okay,
I can look it up and I
since
can read it?
you rely on the Times of Israel so much, why did they publish an article that said they lost?
Lost what?
They said they for the first time Israel has lost a war.
Can you give me the name of the article?
In Times of Israel,
Can you give me the name of the article? What's the name of the article?
it's literally if you look up for the first time Israel has lost a war by Times of Israel.
That's what the name of the article is. For the first
Yes,
time, Israel has lost a war by Times of Israel. Okay, I'm gonna look up this
yes,
article right now. I'm looking up. I'm looking up. Hold on. So it's called "For the First Time Israel Has Lost a War."
yes.
Or I'm looking up right now. Hold on. For the first time Israel,
They might have taken it down.
hold on, hold on. Be quiet. Let me look it up. Has lost a war. Times of Israel. I love that I have two phones. Times of Israel. Okay, I'm looking it up. This is a blog. Do you know what blogs mean? Okay, Times of Israel blogs means that I also write Times of Israel blogs. Means you could write Times of Israel blogs. Anybody in this comment section could write Times of Israel
Okay,
blogs. It's hold on, let me finish. Let me explain to you what Times of Israel blogs is. Times of Israel blogs means some person signs up to be a blogger on Times of Israel. It's not written by Times of Israel, the newspaper. It's a blogging platform. Anybody could. Who wrote this? Let's see. I'm just curious who wrote this. I'm just curious who wrote it. David K. Reese. Let's read his bio. Let's see who he is. He's some. Oh, he doesn't. He says he claims he's. I don't know. He's some Israeli person. He's just a
well,
random. He's just some
he's
guy.
Israeli.
He signed up. He signed up for to be a Times of Israel blogger.
He signed up. How do you sign up to be a Times Israel vlogger?
I don't know. I did it years ago. I'm a Times Israel blogger. You just
What do you
sign up.
mean years ago?
You can sign up. Anybody can sign up. It's
I
free.
don't think you can.
It's free. I did. I'm a Times Israel blogger. It's free. You just
Okay,
sign up and you become a blogger. I don't know if it's still open to sign up, but you just sign up and you become a blogger.
okay.
Of
Do you
course,
know?
Times of Israel reviews your blog. You can't write like crazy hate speech on there, but like you can basically blog about anything. As
Okay,
long as it's
since
relevant, I think that there have to be a certain topic. I don't know. I don't know. I've never written one time I wrote a blog that they didn't accept. I'm just saying,
okay,
like honestly, like basically, they basically let you blog about a lot of different topics.
okay, since you can create vlogs, why is there a reliable source? And let me finish. Let me finish. I
No,
have
no, the blogging. Hold on, listen to me. quiet for a second. Let me explain to you. The blogging section is a different section of Times of Israel than the news section. It's a totally different section. That's why it's literally called, before the title of this article, it says the blogs. Every blog before the blog, it says the blogs. So everybody knows it's a blog. Only idiots think that the blogs is an actual news story. Because you don't know anything about anything, you think a blog is a news story. Like, people think that I'm a Times of Israel reporter because they're dumb. Because I write on Times of Israel blogs. People actually thought I worked for Times of Israel. It's ridiculous. Like, it's a free, like, the reason, let me tell you the reason why I think Times of Israel has a blogging platform. Because basically they post 1 million ads on there, and it gets people to their site, and then people can go directly from the blogging platform to like the news site. So it gets people to come to their site and gets people to look at ads. So it makes Times of Israel tons and tons of money. So they just let people post, and also some of their blogs are quite good. Like, some of the people that write the blogs are quite good. But this blog seems like trash, but whatever. This is some random guy who wrote a blog.
What do you think about the Israeli people unaliving 6-year-old Hind Rajab 363
Listen, I don't
times?
want to talk about that story because that story is like 2 years old. Like, the fact that you guys are still like stuck on this story from 2 years
No,
2
no,
years
it's
ago.
not.
It's like a year, 2 years. It's very old.
No, it's
The
not.
point
It's not. It's not old. It's a human being. It's a human
do
being.
you have
It's not
anything
even a
from this?
person.
Do you have anything from this? Do you have anything from this week?
Well, from this week, all I've heard is that the hostages have returned, and all I've heard that the stages there were when the what's it called, the Israeli hostages, they were on stage. They didn't really look upset. They were
Okay.
smiling according to
With all due
videos.
respect, listen to me. Hostages are being released. They're getting ready to go home. So of course they know they're going home. So of course they're happy, right? Okay, so they're happy because they're going home. They have pew pews pointed to their heads. I'm sure H group is telling them to behave. They know they can't get out of line because then they're in the hands of their captors. Like, really? Like, honestly? Like, okay, with all due respect, do you think it's, you know what someone said on an Instagram video, and I thought it was great, when this pro-Palestinian said, "Oh, well, they gave them goodie bags, and look how, whatever, like, you claim happy they looked." They said, "Well, then let's see if you'd want that to happen to your sister. Let's see if you'd want your sister getting kidnapped by an H group terrorist, held in a dungeon or a tunnel. What was it, 450
Yeah,
days, barely with any food, essayed, tortured, you know, all these other things that happened to them. Let's see if you'd want that to happen. Would you want that to happen to your sister if she got a goodie bag?"
what's your sources for that?
I mean, that's what the hostages came back and said happened to them. But
Half of
what, no,
them?
no, but let's say hypothetically they weren't essayed. Let's say hypothetically they weren't tortured. I mean, like, let's just say they were just kidnapped and held in a tunnel for 450 days. Would you want your sister to be kidnapped and held in a tunnel with barely any food for 450 days? I mean, isn't that bad enough if all those things
They
which
got
didn't
kidnapped,
happen
but
didn't happen? I mean, isn't that bad enough to be kidnapped and taken away from your home
okay.
after you watch a bunch of people get unalived
What's
in front of
worse?
you by these T people? Isn't that bad enough? Would you want that to happen to your
No,
sister?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't
Okay,
be one
so
to be
since you wouldn't
occupied
want that to
since
happen to your
for years and years
sister,
and years.
we don't want that to happen to our Israeli brothers and sisters. Okay,
Okay, fine.
we don't
Fine.
want our Israeli brothers and
The
sisters
same way
to
that
be
I
in a
wouldn't want a kid.
tunnel for 450 days by a
Look,
T grip. Okay,
look. The
so with
same
all due
way I
respect,
wouldn't.
unless you want that to happen to your sister, your mother, your
Okay,
brother,
okay.
okay, or your wife, or your daughter, your son, don't wish that on our people.
The same way I wouldn't want a kid to be shot 363 times.
I don't think no kid was shot 300.
He wasn't.
Pew pew
Don't
360 times.
embarrass
That's
yourself.
why I don't believe that story, because
Don't embarrass yourself.
there's no way somebody was pew pewed 360 times.
Really,
That is
really, they were in
okay. No, no,
tanks.
no. With all due respect,
They were in
that is the
tanks.
biggest Hollywood story I've ever heard in my life. That someone was
Really?
360 times. Listen, with all due
Uh,
respect, since
uh,
H group is the source, since they're the
H
Gaza
group.
Health Ministry,
H group.
and
You're
they're
not
the
human.
source of like
Unfortunately for
how
you,
many
you're not human.
PQs were in the
Unfortunately for you.
person, I don't believe it for like one hot minute. They were
Unfortunately for you, man, you're not
360
human.
PQs. With all due respect, like 360 PQs, like, do you think that the IDF would waste that many bullets
Unfortunately
on
for
one
you, you're
person when
not
it
a
only
human.
takes like one or two bullets to unalive somebody, or at the most you may have fast shot
Unfortunately
for like maybe five bullets. Like with all due respect, like do you think the
for you,
IDF has
you're
that much
interhuman.
ammo to waste? Ammo is expensive. Like with all due respect, 360 pew pews is a lot of pew pews to waste on one person.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Like with all due respect, that is just ludicrous and
Unfortunately for you,
so
you weren't born a
so
human.
stupid. Anyways,
Unfortunately
have
for
a good
you,
night.
you're not
Have a good
human. Your
night.
brain is
Not
fucked.
listening to it
You got
anymore.
dropped on your
Bye
head.
bye.
You got dropped.